Once upon a time, in a village nestled between rolling hills and endless forests, there was a great oak tree that stood at the heart of the woods. The tree was so old and towering that it was said to have witnessed the rise and fall of kingdoms. Its bark was thick and rough, and its leaves shimmered silver in the moonlight. The villagers called it the Enchanted Oak, for legend had it that the tree held magic within its roots, a magic that could grant a single wish every 100 years. In the village, there lived a young girl named Lila. She was the daughter of a woodcutter and spent most of her days exploring the forest with her best friend, a small fox named Bramble. Lila had heard the stories about the Enchanted Oak all her life, and like every child in the village, she dreamed of one day finding the tree and making her wish. One day, Lila overheard her parents talking in hushed voices. Her mother had fallen ill, and no healer in the village knew how to cure her. The sickness was spreading through the land, and there was little hope. Lila's heart ached as she watched her mother grow weaker by the day. Desperate to help, Lila decided to find the Enchanted Oak. She had never ventured deep enough into the forest to see the ancient tree, but she believed in its magic. Early one morning, with Bramble by her side, Lila set off into the forest, following the whispered stories of the villagers that had been passed down through generations. The forest was darker and denser than she had ever imagined. The trees grew taller and closer together, and strange creatures skittered in the shadows. But Lila pressed on, her heart filled with determination. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, and Lila feared she might lose her way. But just as she was about to turn back, a soft glow appeared in the distance, lighting a path through the trees. Lila followed the glow, and soon, she stood before the Enchanted Oak. It was more magnificent than she had ever dreamed. The tree's bark seemed to hum with energy, and its silver leaves rustled softly, though there was no wind. At the base of the tree, ancient symbols were carved into the roots, glowing faintly in the twilight. Lila approached the tree, her heart pounding. She had heard that the oak only granted wishes to those who were pure of heart, and she hoped she was worthy. As she placed her hand on the rough bark, the tree seemed to sigh, and a soft, gentle voice echoed in the air. "Why do you seek me, child?" Lila took a deep breath and spoke. "I wish to heal my mother. She is very ill, and no one knows how to help her. Please, Enchanted Oak, grant me the power to save her." The tree was silent for a moment, and then the voice spoke again. "Your wish is selfless, and your heart is true. But all magic comes with a price, little one. The magic of the forest is ancient and must be respected. If I grant your wish, you will have to give something in return." Lila's heart sank. She had nothing to give. "What must I give?" she asked. The tree's leaves shimmered softly. "You must stay here, in the heart of the forest, and become its guardian. You will protect the magic of the woods and ensure that it is never misused." Lila hesitated. She loved the forest, but the thought of leaving her family, her village, and everything she knew behind was a heavy burden. Still, she knew she could not let her mother die. With a heavy heart, Lila nodded. "I will stay and protect the forest." The Enchanted Oak's branches swayed, and a soft light surrounded Lila. "Your sacrifice is noble. The magic will heal your mother, and she will live a long and healthy life. But from this day on, you will be the guardian of the forest. The trees, the animals, and the spirits of the woods will be under your care." Lila felt the magic of the tree flow through her, filling her with warmth and strength. She knew that she had made the right choice, even though it meant leaving her old life behind. The next morning, the villagers awoke to find the forest alive with a new energy. The sickness that had plagued the land began to disappear. And Lila's mother woke, healthy and strong. The villagers rejoiced, but Lila was nowhere to be found. Years passed, and the story of Lila's sacrifice became legend. Some said they saw her spirit wandering the forest, a guardian watching over the trees and creatures. Others claimed that if you ventured deep enough into the woods, you could still hear her laughter, carried on the wind like a song. And so, the Enchanted Oak remained, standing tall and proud at the heart of the forest, its magic protected by the brave girl who had given everything to save those she loved. The end. Once upon a time, in a tranquil kingdom surrounded by lush forests and sparkling rivers, there was a small village named Leora. Leora was known for its lush gardens, charming cottages, and a mysterious musical melody that played every full moon night. The melody was enchanting and seemed to come from the sky, but no one knew its source. In the heart of the village lived a young girl named Lyra. Lyra had a deep love for music and spent her days playing her grandmother's old violin, dreaming of discovering the secret behind the moonlit melody. Her grandmother had often told her that the melody was a gift from the moon, meant to bring joy and harmony to the world. One clear night, as the full moon rose high in the sky, Lyra decided to follow the melody. She put on her warmest cloak, took her violin, and set off towards the edge of the forest, where the music seemed to be the strongest. As she ventured deeper into the forest, the moonlight danced through the trees, casting shimmering patterns on the ground. Lyra followed the melody, which grew louder and more enchanting with each step. Eventually, she came upon a glade bathed in silver light. At the center of the glade stood a magnificent tree, its branches glowing softly with moonlight. Lyra approached the tree and discovered a hidden door carved into its trunk. With a deep breath, she opened the door and found a spiral staircase leading down into a glowing chamber. The chamber was filled with twinkling lights and soft, ethereal music that seemed to resonate with the very essence of the moon. At the center of the chamber stood an elegant harp, its strings glowing with moonlight. The harp was being played by a beautiful, otherworldly figure, an enchanting moon sprite with shimmering wings and a gown made of stardust. The moon sprite's music filled the room with a sense of peace and wonder. The moon sprite looked up and smiled warmly at Lyra. "Welcome, dear child. I have been waiting for you." Lyra was amazed. "I've always wondered where the moonlit melody comes from. How is it that you play such beautiful music?" The moon sprite's eyes sparkled. "This harp is enchanted by the moon's light. It plays a melody that brings harmony and joy to the world. But every century, we must find a new musician to keep the magic alive. The moon has chosen you." Lyra was both thrilled and nervous. "But I'm just a young girl with an old violin. How can I possibly play this magical harp?" The moon sprite gently handed Lyra a moonlit ribbon. "Take this ribbon and wrap it around your violin. Play the melody from your heart, and it will blend with the magic of the harp." With a deep breath, Lyra took the ribbon and wrapped it around her violin. She began to play, her bow moving gracefully across the strings. As she played, the music from her violin intertwined with the harp's melody, creating a harmonious symphony that filled the chamber with an even more magical light. The moon sprite watched in delight as Lyra's music resonated with the harp's enchantment. "You have a true gift," the moon sprite said. "Your music will keep the magic alive and bring joy to all who hear it." As the night wore on, the moon sprite taught Lyra the secrets of the harp and the art of playing with the moon's magic. When the first light of dawn began to appear, the moon sprite bid farewell to Lyra, thanking her for sharing her music and promising that the moon's melody would continue to bring harmony to the world. Lyra returned to her village, her heart full of wonder and joy. The villagers marveled at the new, enchanting music that filled the nights, more beautiful and captivating than ever before. They celebrated Lyra's gift in her new role as the keeper of the moonlit melody. From that day on, Lyra's music became a cherished part of Leora, and the full moon nights were filled with magical melodies that brought happiness and peace to all who listened. The village thrived under the moon's gentle light, and Lyra's name became synonymous with the enchanting tunes that touched the hearts of everyone. And so, the moonlit melody continued to play, a timeless reminder of the magic that exists in music and the wonders that lie beyond the ordinary world. The end. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom called Aveloria, there was a small village named Bramblewood nestled between the rolling hills and the deep, ancient forest. The village was known for its beautiful, sprawling gardens and the kind-hearted people who lived there. Among them was a young girl named Elara, who was known for her adventurous spirit and her love for animals. Elara lived with her grandmother, who was the village healer. Her grandmother often told her stories about the enchanted forest and the magical creatures that lived within it. One story that always intrigued Alara was about the legendary Golden Blossom, a flower said to have the power to heal any ailment and bring prosperity to the land. One day, a terrible drought struck Bramblewood. The gardens wilted, the rivers dried up, and the villagers grew desperate. Alara knew that the only hope for her village was to find the Golden Blossom. Despite her grandmother's warnings about the dangers of the enchanted forest, Alara decided to embark on the quest to find the magical flower. With a heart full of determination, Alara set off into the forest, accompanied by her loyal friend, a clever fox named Finn. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the trees grew taller and the light dimmer. They encountered many obstacles, but Alara's courage and Finn's cleverness helped them overcome each one. After several days of travel, they reached a glimmering pond guarded by a majestic swan with feathers that shone like the moon. The swan spoke in a melodious voice, "To find the Golden Blossom, you must first answer my riddle. Fail, and you shall be turned away." Alara nodded, ready to face the challenge. The swan asked, "I have roots that cannot be seen, I'm taller than trees, I move with the wind, I whisper without a voice. What am I?" Alara thought hard. She looked around and saw the trees swaying gently, their leaves rustling softly. "You are a mountain," she said confidently. The swan nodded gracefully. "You are correct. Follow the path that lies beyond, and you shall find what you seek." Alara and Finn continued their journey, following the path until they reached a clearing where a grand, ancient oak tree stood. The tree had a face, and it spoke with a deep, resonant voice. "To pass, you must prove your worth by showing compassion." As they pondered how to prove their compassion, they heard a rustling in the bushes. A small, injured fawn limped into the clearing, looking frightened. Alara's heart went out to the poor creature. She approached it gently and used the healing herbs her grandmother had taught her to mend the fawn's wounds. The fawn nuzzled her hand gratefully before bounding away into the forest. The ancient oak tree's face creased into a smile. "You have shown true compassion. You may pass." They walked past the oak tree and finally reached the heart of the forest, where the Golden Blossom was said to bloom. There, they found a beautiful, golden flower shining brightly in a beam of sunlight. But as Alara reached for it, a shadow fell over her. Malachar, a dark sorcerer who sought to use the Golden Blossom for his own evil purposes, emerged from the shadows. "You dare to take what is mine?" Malachar hissed, his eyes glowing with malice. Alara stood her ground, clutching the pendant her grandmother had given her for protection. "The Golden Blossom belongs to the forest and the people it can help. It doesn't belong to you." Malachar laughed, and with a flick of his wrist, he summoned a storm of dark magic. But just as he was about to strike, Finn leapt at him, distracting the sorcerer. In the chaos, Alara grabbed the Golden Blossom and held it high. The flower's light intensified, and a powerful wave of magic surged through the forest, banishing Malachar and restoring life to the land. The trees blossomed, the rivers flowed with crystal-clear water, and the forest creatures rejoiced. Alara and Finn made their way back to Bramblewood with the Golden Blossom, their hearts light with triumph. As they entered the village, the people gathered around, their faces filled with hope. Alara planted the Golden Blossom in the center of the village. Its magic spread, bringing rain to the parched land, healing the sick, and ensuring bountiful harvests for years to come. Alara became a hero in Bramblewood, her name spoken with gratitude and reverence. The village thrived, and the story of the brave girl and her clever fox who saved the village with the Golden Blossom was passed down through generations, inspiring courage and compassion in all who heard it. And so, the kingdom of Aveloria lived happily ever after, forever blessed by the magic of the Golden Blossom and the bravery of a young girl named Alara. Once upon a time, in a kingdom where lush meadows met towering mountains, there was a village called Eldoria. This village was renowned for its beauty and the harmonious melodies that filled the air each day. The source of these melodies was a grand, old tree in the village square known as the Melody Tree. It was said that the tree sang a magical tune that kept the village prosperous and joyful. For as long as anyone could remember, the Melody Tree had been cared for by a kind-hearted woman named Seraphina. She was known as the keeper of the tree and was believed to have a special connection to the tree's magic. However, one fateful winter, the tree's song began to fade, and the village fell into silence and sorrow. The once lively streets of Eldoria became quiet, and the villagers worried that the tree's magic was disappearing. Among the villagers was a curious and courageous young girl named Alina. She loved the Melody Tree and felt a deep sadness seeing it lose its magic. Determined to restore the tree's song and bring joy back to her village, Alina decided to set out on a quest to uncover the mystery behind the fading melody. Alina visited Seraphina, who was tending to the now silent tree. "Seraphina," Alina said, "I want to help restore the Melody Tree's song. Can you tell me what might be causing the silence?" Seraphina looked at Alina with a mixture of hope and sadness. "The melody is fading because the heart of the tree has been stolen. To restore it, you must find the heart and return it to the tree. The heart is hidden in a distant land, guarded by 3 magical creatures. You must prove your worth by completing 3 tasks." Alina, resolute and ready, set out on her quest. Her journey took her through dense forests, over misty mountains, and across shimmering rivers. The first magical creature she encountered was a wise old fox named Finn, who guarded the entrance to an ancient grove. To gain access to the grove, Finn said, "You must solve a riddle. Here it is: I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?" Alina thought deeply and then answered, "An echo." Finn nodded and allowed her to pass. Within the grove, Alina found a golden feather that was the first key to her journey. The next task led Alina to a crystal-clear lake where a graceful swan named Celine lived. Celine's task was to test Alina's kindness and bravery. In the center of the lake, Celine said, "is a pearl that has been lost for ages. Retrieve it and return it to me, and you shall earn the second key." Alina swam through the cool waters and found the pearl resting on a bed of soft reeds. She returned the pearl to Celine, who rewarded her with a shimmering blue gem. For the final task, Alina had to climb the tallest mountain to find a wise dragon named Thorn. Thorn guarded the last key, a radiant emerald. "To prove your worth," Thorn rumbled, "you must tell me what you believe is the true source of magic." Alina looked up at Thorn and replied, "The true source of magic is love and kindness. It is the heart's ability to care for others and to bring joy to the world." Thorn's eyes softened, and he handed her the radiant emerald. "You have answered wisely. Take this key, and may it aid you in your quest." With all 3 keys in hand, a golden feather, a shimmering blue gem, and a radiant emerald, Alina made her way back to Eldoria. She arrived at the Melody Tree and placed the keys in a hidden compartment beneath the tree's bark. The moment she did, the heart of the tree, a brilliant crystal, began to glow with a warm, golden light. The Melody Tree's song returned, more beautiful and enchanting than ever before. The villagers rejoiced as the tree's magical melody filled the air, bringing joy and life back to Eldoria. The once silent streets were alive with laughter and music once more. Seraphina thanked Alina for her bravery and kindness, and the villagers celebrated her as a hero. Alina's quest to restore the Melody Tree's song became a cherished tale in Eldoria, a reminder of the power of courage, love, and the magic that lies in a pure heart. And so, the village of Eldoria continued to thrive under the melody of the grand old tree, and Alina's story was passed down through generations, inspiring others to embrace their own quests with a heart full of hope and kindness. Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled by the edge of an ancient forest, there was a peculiar shop known as the Lantern of Lost Wishes. The shop was run by an elderly woman named Mabel, who was renowned for her mysterious and enchanting collection of magical items. The centerpiece of the shop was a delicate lantern that glowed with a soft, golden light. The villagers believed that this lantern had the power to grant lost wishes and bring forgotten dreams to life. In this village lived a young boy named Oliver. Oliver was known for his boundless curiosity and his love of stories. Despite his cheerful demeanor, Oliver had a secret wish that had been buried deep within his heart for as long as he could remember. He wished to find his long-lost brother, Elias, who had disappeared many years ago. One chilly autumn evening, as the first stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, Oliver decided to visit Mabel's shop. He hoped that the lantern might hold a clue to finding Elias. The shop was filled with the scent of old books and spices. And Mabel greeted Oliver with a warm smile. "Welcome, young Oliver," Mabel said kindly. "I sense that you seek something important." Oliver nodded, his heart pounding with hope and fear. "I want to find my brother, Elias. I've heard that your lantern can grant lost wishes. Can it help me?" Mabel's eyes twinkled with understanding. The lantern of lost wishes has indeed brought hope to many. However, it can only reveal its magic to those who approach it with a pure heart and a sincere wish. If you are truly determined, you may find what you seek. Mabel handed Oliver a small, ornate key. This key will unlock the lantern's magic. But remember, the lantern reveals what you need, not necessarily what you expect. Approach it with an open heart and follow where it leads. Oliver thanked Mabel and, with the key in hand, made his way home. That night, under the light of the full moon, he carefully unlocked the lantern and watched as its golden light filled the room. As the lantern glowed brighter, Oliver noticed that it began to project shimmering images on the walls, images of distant places, hidden paths, and a figure that looked strikingly familiar. The images formed a map, showing a route through the ancient forest and leading to a secluded cabin. Oliver felt a surge of excitement and determination. The next morning, he set out on the journey outlined by the lantern, guided by the hope of finding Elias. The path through the forest was long and winding, but Oliver's heart remained steadfast. He followed the map's directions, encountering various challenges along the way: a deep river that he crossed using a fallen tree, a steep hill that he climbed with the help of a kind deer, and a dark cave that he navigated with a lantern he had brought along. At last, Oliver reached the secluded cabin shown on the map. It was a small, charming place surrounded by wildflowers and bathed in the golden light of the setting sun. As Oliver approached the cabin, he noticed a figure sitting on the porch, reading a book. His heart skipped a beat as he recognized the figure, Elias. Tears of joy filled Oliver's eyes as he called out to his brother. Elias looked up, and a look of astonishment and joy crossed his face. "Oliver? Is that you?" Elias exclaimed, rushing to embrace his brother. The siblings were reunited, their hearts overflowing with happiness. Elias explained that he had been living in the cabin for years, having been separated from the village due to a series of unfortunate events. He had always hoped to find his way back home but had been unable to. Oliver shared the story of how he had used the lantern of lost wishes to find him. Together, they marveled at the magic of the lantern and the incredible journey that had brought them together. The two brothers returned to the village, where they were warmly welcomed back. The village celebrated their reunion with a grand feast, and the story of the lantern of lost wishes became a cherished tale. The lantern continued to glow softly in Mabel's shop, a symbol of hope and the power of true wishes. Oliver and Elias were forever grateful for the magic that had reunited them and for the love that had guided them on their journey. And so, the village thrived with joy and unity, and the lantern of lost wishes remained a beacon of dreams and the miracles that can happen when hearts are open and wishes are true. The end. Once upon a time, in a land where the mountains kissed the sky and rivers sang sweet melodies, there was a quaint village called Eldergrove. Eldergrove was nestled in a lush valley, surrounded by towering trees and blooming meadows. It was a peaceful place where magic was as common as wildflowers, but it was the village's greatest secret that made it truly special: an enchanted lantern. This lantern wasn't just an ordinary light, it had the power to grant one wish to anyone pure of heart who discovered its magic. It had been hidden away in the village for centuries, waiting for the right person to find it. The story of the lantern began with a young girl named Lila. Lila was known throughout Eldergrove for her kindness and bravery. One day, as she explored the forest near her village, she stumbled upon an ancient oak tree with a hollow trunk. Curiosity twinkling in her eyes, Lila reached inside and pulled out a dusty, ornate lantern. The lantern was beautiful but covered in cobwebs and dust. As she wiped it clean, a soft glow began to emanate from it. Lila's heart leapt with excitement, for she had heard the legends of the magical lantern but never truly believed they were real. The next morning, Lila returned to the forest to consult with the village elder, wise old Grandma Agnes. She had seen many things in her lifetime and knew the stories well. Grandma Agnes's eyes widened when she saw the lantern. "This is the fabled lantern of Eldergrove," she said, her voice trembling with awe. "It is said to grant a single wish to someone who is truly pure of heart." Lila's mind raced with possibilities. She thought of wishing for endless wealth or power, but those thoughts felt hollow compared to the warmth she felt when helping others. She knew her wish had to be something that would benefit not just her but the entire village. As she walked through Eldergrove, she saw the villagers facing various troubles. The crops had failed due to a recent drought, and the well that supplied water was almost dry. The villagers were disheartened, and their once vibrant community seemed to be losing hope. Lila knew what she had to do. That night, she gathered the villagers and explained her plan. With their support, she made her wish. Holding the lantern high, she said, "I wish for Eldergrove to be blessed with abundant water, so our crops can grow, our wells can fill, and our village can thrive once more." The lantern glowed brightly, and a gentle breeze swirled around them, carrying with it the soothing scent of rain. The next morning, the skies opened up, and a soft, steady rain began to fall. The villagers cheered with joy as the dry earth soaked up the much-needed water. The crops began to recover, and the well filled to the brim. As days turned into weeks, Eldergrove flourished like never before. The once dying crops were now thriving, and the village returned to its vibrant, joyous self. Lila's selfless wish had not only restored the village but also strengthened the bonds between the villagers. One evening, as Lila walked through the meadow, she saw a small, golden light fluttering in the air. It was the spirit of the lantern, now free of its duties. The spirit spoke to her in a gentle, melodious voice, "Thank you, Lila. Your pure heart and selfless wish have brought joy to Eldergrove. Though the lantern's magic is now fulfilled, the true magic lies in the kindness you've shown." With that, the spirit faded into the twilight, leaving behind a gentle, warm glow that bathed the village in a serene light. From that day on, the lantern was kept in the village square as a reminder of the power of selflessness and the magic that lives within every kind heart. And so, Eldergrove thrived, not just from the blessings of a magical lantern but from the love and care of its people. As for Lila, she continued to help her village with the same kindness and bravery that had guided her to her greatest adventure. And they all lived happily ever after. The secret of the Whispering Willow. Once upon a time, in a lush and verdant valley, there was a small village named Willowbrook. The village was named after the majestic willow tree that stood at the edge of a sparkling river, its long branches swaying gently in the breeze. The villagers believed that the tree was enchanted, for it was said to whisper secrets to those who listened carefully. At the heart of the village lived a curious boy named Finn. He was known for his adventurous spirit and his love of exploring the mysteries of the world around him. Finn had always been fascinated by the Whispering Willow, but no one had ever been able to decipher its secrets. The mysterious whisper. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned a deep shade of purple, Finn decided to visit the Whispering Willow. He sat beneath its branches, listening to the soft rustling of its leaves. To his surprise, the whispers seemed clearer than ever before, as if the tree was trying to communicate with him. Finn closed his eyes and focused on the sound. The whispers gradually formed words, and Finn heard the tree speak, "The moon's light holds the key, follow the path where shadows flee." Intrigued and a little nervous, Finn decided to follow the tree's cryptic message. He waited until the moon was high in the sky, casting its silvery light over the village, and then set off to find the path where shadows fled. The moonlit path. As Finn wandered through the village, he noticed that the moonlight seemed to create a trail of shimmering light, leading him toward the forest at the edge of Willowbrook. The shadows of the trees appeared to retreat in the moon's glow, just as the Whispering Willow had said. Finn followed the trail deep into the forest, where the trees grew taller and thicker, their branches forming a dense canopy overhead. Despite the darkness, The moonlight guided him, illuminating the path before him. The forest was eerily quiet, with only the sound of his footsteps and the occasional rustling of leaves. Eventually, Finn reached a small clearing where a stone archway stood. The archway was covered in ancient carvings, and a soft glow emanated from within. Finn hesitated for a moment, then gathered his courage and stepped through the archway. The enchanted grove on the other side of the archway, Finn found himself in a beautiful grove bathed in moonlight. The air was filled with the sweet scent of flowers, and the ground was covered in soft, emerald-green grass. In the center of the grove stood a crystal-clear pond, its surface reflecting the light of the moon like a mirror. As Finn approached the pond, he noticed something unusual. At the water's edge, there was a small, delicate flower that seemed to glow with an inner light. The flower's petals were a soft shade of blue, and its fragrance was unlike anything Finn had ever encountered. He knelt down to examine the flower more closely, and as he did, the whispers of the willow returned, clearer and more urgent than before. The moonflower blooms but once a night, its magic will set all things right. The power of the moonflower. Finn carefully plucked the moonflower, holding it gently in his hands. As he did, the grove seemed to come alive with light and sound. The trees rustled in the breeze, and the pond sparkled with 1,000 tiny stars. Finn felt a warmth spread through him, and he knew that he had discovered something truly magical. But what was he to do with the moonflower? The whispering willow's words echoed in his mind, and he realized that the flower's magic could be used to bring peace and prosperity to his village. A gift to the willow. Finn hurried back through the forest, following the moonlit path until he reached the whispering willow once more. He placed the moonflower at the base of the tree and stepped back, unsure of what would happen next. As soon as the flower touched the ground, the willow's branches began to glow with a soft, golden light. The whispers grew louder, filling the air with a soothing melody. The moonflower's light spread throughout the village, casting a warm, peaceful glow over every home and field. The villagers, who had been watching from a distance, marveled at the sight. They gathered around the whispering willow, their faces filled with wonder. The once quiet tree now sang a song of joy and harmony, its magic bringing a sense of calm and happiness to all who heard it. A village transformed from that day forward. Willowbrook flourished like never before. The crops grew taller and richer, the river flowed clearer and purer, and the villagers lived in harmony with one another. The whispering willow became a symbol of the village's prosperity, and Finn was hailed as a hero for uncovering its secret. The moonflower, which only bloomed once under the full moon, continued to grow at the base of the tree, its magic renewing the village's blessings each month. And though the whispering willow still whispered its secrets, the villagers no longer needed to decipher them, for they had found the key to living in peace and harmony. And so, under the watchful gaze of the moon and the gentle whispers of the willow, Willowbrook thrived, forever grateful to the brave boy who listened to the tree's song.
Once upon a time, in the peaceful village of Brookside, there lived a humble fisherman named Finn. Finn was known for his kind heart and unwavering determination. He lived with his mother in a small cottage by the river. Every day, Finn would go out on his small boat, hoping to catch enough fish to support them both. One year, a terrible drought struck Brookside. The river dried up, and fish became scarce. The villagers struggled to find food, and Finn worried for his mother and the people of his village. He decided to venture beyond the river and seek out the legendary Enchanted Lake, where it was said that fish were plentiful and magical creatures resided. Finn set off early one morning, guided by the stories he had heard as a child. He traveled through dense forests, crossed rocky mountains, and finally, after days of arduous journey, he reached the Enchanted Lake. The lake was surrounded by lush greenery, and its waters sparkled like diamonds under the sun. As Finn approached the lake, he was greeted by a gentle, melodious voice. It was the voice of the lake's guardian, a beautiful water nymph named Alara. "Welcome, brave fisherman," Alara said. "Why have you come to the Enchanted Lake?" Finn explained the plight of his village and his hope to bring back enough fish to feed his people. Alara listened with empathy and nodded. "Your heart is pure, and your intentions are noble. I will help you, but first, you must prove your courage and kindness." Alara set 3 challenges for Finn. The first challenge was to catch a fish from the deepest part of the lake. Alara warned Finn that the depths were home to many mystical creatures. With determination, Finn set out on his boat and cast his net into the deepest waters. After a long struggle, he managed to catch a shimmering, golden fish. He released it back into the lake, showing respect for its beauty. For the second challenge, Alara asked Finn to find and return a lost pearl that had fallen into the lake's depths. Finn dived into the water and swam deep, encountering various magical creatures. He finally found the pearl, guarded by a giant turtle. Finn spoke gently to the turtle, explaining his quest. Moved by Finn's sincerity, the turtle gave him the pearl. Impressed by Finn's bravery and kindness, Alara granted him a magical net that would always provide enough fish for his village. She also blessed him with the ability to communicate with the creatures of the lake, ensuring he could seek their help in times of need. Finn thanked Alara and promised to use the magic wisely. He filled his boat with fish and began his journey back to Brookside. Along the way, he shared some of the fish with people he met, spreading hope and kindness. When Finn returned to his village, the people were overjoyed. The river was still dry, but Finn's boat was filled with enough fish to feed everyone. The villagers celebrated and thanked Finn for his bravery and selflessness. Using the magical net, Finn continued to provide for his village, ensuring that no one went hungry. He taught the villagers how to respect and care for nature. Just as he had learned from Alara, the village of Brookside flourished once again, and Finn's story became a legend. Years passed, and Finn grew old. He often visited the enchanted lake to see Alara and thank her for her guidance. He shared his wisdom with the younger generation, teaching them about courage, kindness, and the importance of living in harmony with nature. The tale of Finn and the enchanted lake was passed down through generations. It reminded the people of Brookside that true bravery comes from the heart and that kindness and respect for nature bring lasting prosperity. The enchanted lake remained a place of magic and wonder, protected by Alara and the creatures who lived there. And so, the bond between the villagers and the magical world endured, a testament to the power of compassion and the enduring spirit of a brave fisherman named Finn.
Once upon a time, in a kingdom called Harmonia, there was a charming village named Melody Springs. Known for its beautiful music and skilled musicians, Melody Springs was a place where harmony reigned supreme. Among its residents was a young girl named Lila, who had a voice so enchanting that it could make the flowers bloom and the birds sing along. Lila lived with her parents in a cozy cottage on the edge of the village. Her mother was a renowned harpist, and her father was a master violinist. They often played together, filling their home with the sweetest melodies. Lila loved singing along, and her dream was to find the legendary enchanted harp, a magical instrument said to produce music so beautiful it could heal any ailment and bring peace to troubled hearts. One fateful day, a terrible storm struck the village, bringing sickness and despair. The once cheerful tunes of Melody Springs were replaced by the sounds of coughing and crying. Lila's parents fell ill, and despite her best efforts to care for them, they grew weaker each day. Desperate to save her parents and restore joy to her village, Lila decided to search for the enchanted harp. The legend of the enchanted harp told of its resting place deep within the Whispering Woods, guarded by mythical creatures and protected by powerful spells. With a heart full of determination and a small bag of provisions, Lila set off on her quest at dawn. As she entered the Whispering Woods, the trees seemed to whisper secrets and warnings. The path was unclear, and the shadows played tricks on her eyes. Suddenly, a majestic stag with antlers like silver branches appeared before her. "Why do you venture into these woods, young one?" the stag asked. "I seek the enchanted harp to heal my parents and bring happiness back to my village," Lila replied. The stag looked at her with gentle eyes. "Your intentions are noble. I will guide you to the Forest of Echoes, where the guardian of the harp resides. But beware, the path is fraught with challenges that will test your heart." Grateful for the stag's help, Lila followed him through the dense forest. They crossed sparkling streams and climbed rocky hills, and as they walked, the stag told Lila stories of the forest and its magic. After a long journey, they arrived at the Forest of Echoes, a mystical place where every sound seemed to linger and repeat. In the center of the forest stood a grand tree with golden leaves, and at its base lay the enchanted harp, glowing softly with an ethereal light. But between Lila and the harp was a fierce griffin, its wings spread wide and its eyes blazing. "Who dares to approach the enchanted harp?" the griffin roared. "It is I, Lila of Melody Springs," she said, stepping forward bravely. "I seek the harp to heal my parents and my village." The griffin studied her for a moment. "The harp is not for the faint of heart. To claim it, you must prove your worth by completing 3 tasks." Lila nodded, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. "First," the griffin said, "you must find the melody stone hidden within this forest. It emits a tune that only the pure of heart can hear." Lila closed her eyes and listened intently to the sounds around her. Focusing on her love for her parents and her village, she followed a faint, beautiful melody. After a long search, she found the melody stone beneath a bed of moss, its tune growing louder as she approached. The griffin nodded in approval. "Second, you must mend the broken lyre. It has been shattered for centuries, and only the hands of the kind-hearted can restore it." Lila gathered the pieces of the broken lyre scattered around the forest and began to piece them together. She sang softly as she worked, her voice guiding her hands. Slowly, the lyre came together, whole and beautiful once more. Finally, the griffin said, "You must sing a song that touches my heart, proving your intentions are true." Lila took a deep breath and began to sing a lullaby her mother used to sing to her. Her voice filled the forest, and even the trees seemed to lean in to listen. As she sang, the griffin's fierce expression softened, and tears glistened in its eyes. "You have proven yourself worthy, Lila," the griffin said. "The enchanted harp is yours." With reverence, Lila approached the harp and gently strummed its strings. A melody more beautiful than anything she had ever heard filled the air. She felt the harp's magic flow through her, and she knew it would heal her parents and bring joy back to Melody Springs. The stag led Lila safely back to her village, where she played the enchanted harp for her parents and the villagers. The harp's magic worked wonders, curing the sick and lifting everyone's spirits. Melody Springs was filled with music and laughter once more. Lila's parents embraced her, their eyes filled with pride and gratitude. "You have brought hope and happiness back to our lives, my brave daughter," her mother said. From that day on, Lila continued to play the enchanted harp, using its magic to help those in need. Her story spread far and wide, inspiring others to believe in the power of love, music, and courage. And so, the kingdom of Harmonia thrived, forever grateful to the brave girl who brought the magic of the enchanted harp into their lives. The end. In a kingdom surrounded by rolling hills and lush forests, there was a small village known for its vibrant flowers and melodious birdsong. At the heart of this village lived a kind and gentle girl named Lila. Lila had a special gift. She could play the most enchanting melodies on her silver flute, melodies that could soothe even the most troubled heart. One evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, a mysterious fog rolled into the village. The fog was unlike any other, swirling with hues of silver and blue, and carrying an eerie silence. The villagers became uneasy, for they had heard old tales of a moonlit melody that could dispel any dark enchantment. Lila, determined to protect her village, decided to find the source of the fog and lift its spell. With her trusty flute in hand and a lantern to light her way, she set out towards the edge of the forest, where the fog seemed to be thickest. As Lila ventured deeper into the forest, the fog grew denser, making it difficult to see. Suddenly, she stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. In the center of the clearing stood a magnificent, ancient oak tree with a hollow trunk. At the base of the tree was a beautiful, silver harp, its strings shimmering with a soft, ethereal glow. Intrigued, Lila approached the harp. As she reached out to touch it, a gentle voice spoke from within the hollow tree. "To lift the moonlit fog and restore peace to your village, you must play the melody that matches the rhythm of the moon." Lila was puzzled but knew she had to try. She took a deep breath and began to play her flute, weaving a melody that filled the clearing with a sweet, soothing tune. The harp strings began to resonate with her music, creating a harmonious duet. As she played, the fog around the clearing began to shimmer and swirl, forming shapes of luminous creatures that danced in the moonlight. The creatures, sensing Lila's pure heart and dedication, began to sing along with the melody, their voices blending with the music. The more Lila played, the brighter the clearing became, and the fog started to lift from the village. The villagers, watching from afar, were amazed as the fog vanished, revealing the moonlit sky and the twinkling stars. The forest creatures gathered around Lila, their eyes filled with gratitude. The gentle voice from the oak tree spoke again. "You have played the melody of the moon with courage and kindness. The enchantment is lifted, and harmony is restored." As a token of their appreciation, the creatures gifted Lila with a golden leaf from the ancient oak tree. The leaf, they explained, would always guide her when she needed help and remind her of the magic she had brought to the world. Lila returned to the village, where she was greeted with cheers and celebration. The villagers were overjoyed to see their home restored and honored Lila for her bravery and the enchanting melody that had saved them. From that night on, the village thrived under the light of the moon, and Lila continued to play her flute, sharing her melodies with all who needed comfort and joy. The golden leaf remained a cherished keepsake, a reminder of the night when music and magic saved the village. And so, under the moonlit sky, Lila's melodies echoed through the hills, a testament to the power of music, courage, and the magic that lies within the heart. Once upon a time, in a land where the seasons danced in harmony, there was a magical kingdom called Verdant Vale. Verdant Vale was unique because it experienced all 4 seasons simultaneously. Spring blossomed in the east, summer shone in the south, autumn painted the west in golden hues, and winter frosted the north. The heart of Verdant Vale was a magnificent castle where Queen Aria ruled with wisdom and kindness. The secret to the kingdom's perpetual harmony lay in the Crystal of the 4 Seasons, a magical artifact that balanced the elements of nature. The crystal was kept in the castle's highest tower, guarded by powerful enchantments. Queen Aria had a daughter named Elara, a spirited and adventurous young princess with hair as golden as the summer sun and eyes as blue as the winter sky. Elara loved exploring the kingdom and making friends with its many creatures, from the talking birds of spring to the playful foxes of autumn. One day, as Elara was playing in the garden, a dark cloud descended over Verdant Vale. The sky grew ominously dark, and the winds howled with a chilling intensity. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared. It was Malvik, a sorcerer banished from Verdant Vale long ago for his dark ambitions. "Queen Aria." Malvik's voice boomed through the castle. "Your reign of harmony ends today. I shall take the crystal of the 4 seasons and plunge this land into eternal darkness." Before anyone could react, Malvik cast a spell that shattered the crystal into 4 pieces, scattering them across the kingdom. Each piece was carried away by the winds to the farthest corners of Verdant Vale. The balance of the seasons was broken, and chaos ensued. Winter snowed upon summer, autumn leaves fell upon spring blossoms, and the once harmonious land was thrown into turmoil. Queen Aria, though heartbroken, remained resolute. "Elara," she said, her voice steady, "you are the only one who can restore balance to our kingdom. You must find the 4 pieces of the crystal and bring them back." Elara, determined to save her home, set off on her quest. She traveled first to the east, where the spring blooms were wilting under a sudden frost. There, she met a wise old hare named Thistle, who guided her to a hidden grove where the first piece of the crystal lay beneath an ancient cherry tree. "Beware, princess," Thistle warned. "Malvik's magic has awakened the frost golem, who guards this grove." Summoning her courage, Elara approached the grove and found the frost golem towering over the crystal shard. Using her quick wits, she tricked the golem into chasing a decoy made of snow, giving her the chance to retrieve the crystal piece. With the first piece secured, Elara journeyed south to the summer lands, now plagued by unpredictable rainstorms. In the heart of a sun-scorched desert, she encountered a fiery phoenix named Solara. The phoenix, impressed by Elara's determination, helped her locate the second piece of the crystal hidden in a cave of molten lava. To retrieve it, Elara had to cross a river of fire. Solara gifted her a feather that allowed her to walk through the flames unharmed. With the second piece in hand, she continued west to the autumn lands. There, the once vibrant forests were cloaked in fog and shadows. Elara found herself in a maze of enchanted trees, where she met an elusive stag named Orion. Orion led her to the center of the maze, where the third piece of the crystal was guarded by a mischievous spirit named Whisper. Elara engaged Whisper in a riddle contest, knowing that spirits loved games of wit. After correctly solving Whisper's riddles, she earned the third piece of the crystal. Finally, Elara traveled north to the winter lands, where blizzards now raged uncontrollably. In an ice cavern, she encountered a snow leopard named Frost. With Frost's help, Elara located the final piece of the crystal, embedded in a glacier. To free it, she had to melt the ice using the warmth of her heart. Elara remembered the love she had for her family and her kingdom. Focusing on these feelings, she held the crystal piece and, miraculously, the ice melted away. With all four pieces of the crystal, Elara returned to Verdant Vale. She climbed the castle's highest tower and placed the pieces together. The crystal glowed with a brilliant light, restoring balance to the seasons. The dark clouds parted, and Malvek's spell was broken. Queen Arya embraced Elara, her eyes filled with pride. "You have saved us all, my brave daughter." The kingdom rejoiced, and Verdant Vale once again flourished with the harmony of the four seasons. Elara's adventure became a legendary tale, reminding everyone of the power of courage, wisdom, and love. And so, under the eternal dance of the seasons, Verdant Vale thrived, and Princess Elara's bravery was celebrated for generations to come. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between rolling hills and emerald forests, there was a magical village known as Willowbrook. The villagers lived in harmony with nature, and their days were filled with laughter, song, and the occasional mischief of enchanted woodland creatures. In the heart of Willowbrook stood a grand, ancient oak tree named Elder Oak. It was said that Elder Oak had witnessed the rise and fall of many generations and that it held the wisdom of the ages within its gnarled branches. But as wise as Elder Oak was, it had one secret: it was the guardian of a magical crystal known as the Heart of the Forest. The Heart of the Forest was a glowing, emerald-green gem that had the power to bring peace and prosperity to the land. However, it was also said that if the crystal were ever stolen, a dark curse would befall the kingdom. To protect it, Elder Oak had always kept the crystal hidden deep within its trunk, accessible only to those with pure hearts. One crisp autumn morning, a young girl named Elara woke to find a strange sight outside her cottage. An enormous, swirling mist had settled over the village, and the usually cheerful woodland creatures were nowhere to be seen. Alarmed, Elara decided to investigate. She grabbed her cloak, a basket of berries, and set off towards Elder Oak. As Elara approached the ancient tree, she noticed that the mist grew thicker, and the branches of Elder Oak seemed to tremble. The heart of the tree had dimmed, and it was clear that something was terribly wrong. Determined to help, Elara touched the trunk gently and whispered, "Elder Oak, what has happened?" From within the tree, a soft, sorrowful voice replied, "The heart of the forest has been stolen, and the land is growing darker by the minute. Only a true-hearted soul can retrieve it and restore balance." Elara felt a chill run down her spine, but she nodded resolutely. "I will find it. Please, tell me where to start." Elder Oak's voice was barely a whisper. "Follow the path through the mist. It will lead you to the Shadow Realm. There, you will find the lair of the thief. Beware, for darkness can cloud even the purest of hearts." With a deep breath, Elara ventured into the swirling mist. As she walked, the world around her grew darker and more twisted. Trees seemed to twist into eerie shapes, and shadows whispered unsettling secrets. But Elara pressed on, guided by a faint, glowing light that grew stronger with each step. Finally, she arrived at a cavern entrance shrouded in shadows. With a steady heart, she entered. Inside, the cavern was filled with a soft, eerie glow from crystals embedded in the walls. At the center of the cavern, on a pedestal, sat the Heart of the Forest, surrounded by swirling dark energy. Guarding the crystal was a shadowy figure cloaked in black. The figure turned to face Elara, revealing a face that seemed to shift and change with the shadows. "Who dares to challenge me?" the figure's voice echoed menacingly. "I am Elara, and I have come to reclaim the heart of the forest," she declared bravely. The figure laughed, a sound like rustling leaves. "You think you can take it from me? This crystal has given me power beyond your imagination. But I shall offer you a challenge. Solve my riddle, and I will let you take the heart. Fail, and you shall be lost in darkness forever." Elara nodded, steeling herself. "What is your riddle?" The figure's eyes glowed faintly as it spoke. "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I?" Elara thought deeply. The cavern seemed to hold its breath as she pondered. Then, she remembered the whispers of the wind she had heard in the forest, the sounds that carried messages without a physical form. "An echo," she answered confidently. The shadowy figure's eyes widened in surprise, and with a wave of its hand, the dark energy surrounding the heart of the forest dissipated. "You have solved the riddle, and your heart is indeed pure. Take the crystal and restore the balance." Elara approached the pedestal and carefully lifted the heart of the forest. As she held it in her hands, the cavern began to brighten, and the shadows retreated. She made her way back through the mist, and with each step, the world around her grew lighter and more vibrant. When she returned to Willowbrook, the mist had vanished, and the villagers rejoiced at her return. Elder Oak's branches sparkled with renewed vitality, and the heart of the forest was safely returned to its resting place within the tree. The kingdom flourished once more, and Elara's bravery became a cherished tale told for generations. The enchanted creatures of the forest danced and sang, celebrating the return of peace. And so, the kingdom of Willowbrook thrived under the watchful gaze of Elder Oak, protected by the pure heart of a brave young girl. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by rolling hills and dense forests, there was a small, tranquil village called Willowbrook. Willowbrook was famous for its extraordinary willow tree, known as the Whispering Willow. The tree's branches were said to hold the secrets of the past, present, and future, and its leaves rustled with soft, mystical whispers that guided the villagers. In Willowbrook lived a kind-hearted young girl named Lila. Lila was known for her compassion and her love for animals. She spent her days helping her family and caring for the village's stray animals. Every evening, she would sit beneath the whispering willow and listen to its gentle whispers, which she believed held wisdom for those who sought it with a pure heart. One day, as Lila was tending to a wounded fox she had found in the forest, she overheard a troubling conversation among the village elders. They spoke of a dark shadow spreading across the kingdom, threatening to cover the land in eternal darkness. The only way to stop it, they said, was to find the lost star, a magical artifact that had been hidden away centuries ago. Lila felt a surge of determination. She knew that if the lost star could bring light back to the kingdom, she had to find it. With the support of her family and friends, she set off on a quest to locate the artifact. The Whispering Willow had mentioned that the lost star was hidden in a hidden realm, accessible only through the Enchanted Forest. The Enchanted Forest was known for its mystical creatures and magical barriers. As Lila ventured deeper into the forest, she encountered a series of magical challenges. First, she met a mischievous sprite who challenged her with a riddle. "I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water. What am I?" Lila thought carefully and answered, "A map." The sprite's eyes twinkled with approval. "You may pass." Next, Lila crossed paths with a gentle giantess who blocked her way. The giantess had lost her way in the forest and was searching for a special flower that only bloomed under the moonlight. Lila agreed to help the giantess find the flower, and in return, the giantess guided her through the forest's treacherous paths. Finally, Lila reached a shimmering, moonlit glade where the entrance to the hidden realm was said to be located. She encountered a wise old owl perched on a grand oak tree. The owl spoke in a soft, melodic voice. "To enter the hidden realm, you must show your heart's true intention. What do you seek most dearly?" Lila replied honestly, "I seek to bring light and hope to my kingdom and save it from the encroaching darkness." The owl nodded and spread its wings, revealing a glowing portal hidden within the tree. Lila stepped through the portal and found herself in a realm of dazzling light and vibrant colors. At the center of this realm was a magnificent crystal, radiating a brilliant, warm light, the lost star. As Lila approached the crystal, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. It was the Sorcerer of Shadows, who had been spreading the darkness across the kingdom. The sorcerer's eyes gleamed with malice as he said, "You think you can take the lost star from me? I've worked too hard to bring about eternal night." Lila stood her ground. "The lost star belongs to the people of the kingdom. Its light will bring hope and joy, not darkness." The sorcerer laughed, but his laughter was interrupted by the soft glow of the lost star, which seemed to resonate with Lila's courage and determination. The light from the crystal began to push back the shadowy figure, growing stronger with each step Lila took toward it. Realizing he could not compete with the pure light of the lost star, the sorcerer was forced to retreat into the darkness, vowing to return. Lila took the lost star and made her way back to Willowbrook, where the villagers greeted her with cheers and joy. When Lila placed the lost star at the heart of the village, its light spread across the kingdom, banishing the darkness and restoring hope to the land. The whispering willow's leaves rustled with approval, and the kingdom thrived once more. Lila's bravery and selflessness became a celebrated tale in Willowbrook, and the kingdom was forever grateful for her courage. The lost star's light continued to shine brightly, a beacon of hope and joy for all. And so, Lila, the whispering willow, and the people of Willowbrook lived happily ever after, surrounded by the warmth and light of their restored kingdom. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between lush green hills and the shimmering blue lake, lived two siblings, Elara and Thorn. Elara was a kind-hearted girl with a curiosity that matched her bright blue eyes, while Thorn, her younger brother, was brave and adventurous, always eager to explore the unknown. Their village was surrounded by a dense forest known as the Enchanted Grove. Legends spoke of magical creatures and hidden treasures within the grove, but it was also said to be protected by an ancient enchantment that only the pure of heart could pass through. One sunny morning, Elara and Thorn set off on a new adventure. They had heard whispers of a hidden glade within the Enchanted Grove where the fabled Tree of Wishes grew. The tree, according to the legend, could grant one true wish to those who found it. With their hearts full of hope, they ventured into the grove, guided by a mysterious map they found in their grandmother's attic. As they walked deeper into the forest, the trees grew taller and the light dimmer. The air was filled with the scent of wildflowers and the sound of rustling leaves. Suddenly, a mischievous pixie named Lumina appeared before them, her wings shimmering like sunlight on water. "Where are you two headed?" Lumina asked with a twinkle in her eye. "We're looking for the Tree of Wishes," Elara replied. Lumina fluttered around them, her laughter like the tinkling of tiny bells. "Many have sought the tree, but few have found it. The path is perilous and full of challenges. But I see something special in both of you. I will guide you, but you must prove your worth along the way." The siblings agreed, and Lumina led them to their first challenge, a bridge guarded by a fierce troll named Grumble. The troll demanded a riddle be solved before they could pass. "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with wind. What am I?" Grumble growled. Elara thought for a moment and then answered, "An echo." Grumble grunted, but a smile tugged at his lips. "Correct. You may pass." The trio continued their journey until they reached a wide river with no bridge or boat in sight. Lumina pointed to a family of beavers nearby. "Perhaps they can help." Thorn approached the beavers and asked for their assistance. The beavers agreed to build a bridge if the siblings could help them find food. Elara and Thorn worked together, gathering berries and nuts, and soon the beavers constructed a sturdy bridge. As they crossed the river, Lumina warned them of their final challenge, a maze of thorns that could only be navigated by those with pure intentions. Holding hands, Elara and Thorn entered the maze, their hearts united in their quest. They walked with determination, helping each other through the twists and turns. At the maze's end, they found themselves in a serene glade bathed in golden light. In the center stood the majestic tree of wishes, its branches heavy with sparkling fruit. A gentle voice spoke from the tree, "You have shown bravery, kindness, and purity of heart. You may each make a wish." Elara wished for the prosperity and happiness of their village, while Thorn wished for their parents' good health and long life. The tree shimmered, and the wishes were granted. As a token of gratitude, the tree gave them each a golden leaf, promising that they would always find their way back to the glade when needed. With Lumina's help, Elara and Thorn returned home, their hearts light and their spirits high. They shared their tale, and the village flourished with newfound hope and joy. And so, the siblings' adventure became a cherished legend, reminding everyone that with courage, kindness, and a pure heart, even the most daunting challenges could be overcome. And they lived happily ever after. The end.